Help me give a warm welcome to our new students.
Good morning. You guys look wonderful. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I don't like walking with this cane, but I cannot stand behind that podium because I want to see all of you, and I want you to see me. So just bear with me, okay? So welcome back to the second day. How many of you enjoyed the breakfast this morning? Just so you know, I stayed up all night cooking that. But I really wanted you to have Chick-fil-A this morning for a specific reason. How many of you understand the Chick-fil-A philosophy as it relates to customer service and seeing every person? So I just wanted to start off this speech by saying this morning was about me seeing you, seeing the work that you do and recognizing that, and that understanding that you are going to go into the school year seeing these children. So give yourselves a round of applause for coming back the second day. Now, before I get started, I just want to acknowledge the team that has put this together, Anita and the orange shirts. I'm just going to call you the orange shirts. The orange shirts, give them a round of applause. Now, I will tell you this. When I went around yesterday, I felt so welcome. You guys are so nice, good, strong leaders in this community, and I'm really excited about the work that we're going to do moving forward. One of the things that excited me the most was to see that you're sticking to what's working. We're not changing anything. We're not adding anything. We're just sticking to what's working. And I really like the fact that you all were engaged in those breakout sessions. Give our breakout sessions leaders a round of applause, too. So this morning, I want to just share with you a little bit. I know Anita talked a little bit about my experiences, but I've been in education going into my 28th year. I started out this journey 28 years ago with just volunteering. I didn't have any desire to be a teacher, administrator, or anything. I just wanted to help kids. I had some students that used to walk around my neighborhood, and I wanted to figure out how can I get these kids to go back to school. So I built a relationship with them, learned their stories, understood who they were, what they were going through. And through that relationship, I was able to convince some of them to go back to school. We would walk back to the school, engage with the principal. After doing that a few times, the principal said, "You want to work here?" So I said, "Well, no, I won't," because I was owning a business at the time. So I was like, "I'll just volunteer." So I took advantage of that, and the rest is history. I have been on a mission ever since, trying to help children to become their best. And just trying to see every child that I came into contact with, understanding who they are, and that's why I lead the way I lead. My leading is not about me, it's about the children. In less than 20 days, well, probably 19 days now, we're going to have 50,000 students show up in this district. And I am excited to know that we have leaders in the schools, like yourselves, that are committed to welcoming those kids back and moving those kids forward. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. Now, when I first started in education, I would build relationships with students and just nurture those relationships over time. And every opportunity, every year, every site I was at, I would build those relationships. And as I was transitioning and preparing to come down here, I ran into a young man, and he was like, "Dr. Gallien, why are you looking so frustrated?" And I said, "Well, I'm getting ready to go to a new community, and I'm just trying to figure out how am I going to get them to understand how I am as a leader? Who am I? What am I all about? And this young man said to me, well, Dr. Gallien, that's easy. Just tell them about my story. Tell them about what you did for me and how you have nurtured that relationship over time. And so I said, that's a good idea. So I'm going to share with you, I'm going to call this young man Johnny. Johnny is the oldest of 3 children. They coming from a single-parent home, grew up in the projects. Mother barely graduated from high school. In fact, did not graduate from high school. But she poured into her children. She believed that they could do whatever they wanted to do. And even though she could barely read, she would challenge them. And Johnny would always share with me how his mother would make them read or write something. And then she said, you put it on the table. When I get home from work, I'm going to check it. He didn't know that she couldn't read, but he did it anyway because his mother believed in him. His mother inspired him. They would see their mother go off to work every day. Johnny would he was a latchkey kid at a very early age. He would bring home his sisters and brother and make sure they were fed. And then I'm talking at a young age. This young man, when he told me he was doing this, he started off doing it at 8 years old. By the time he was 10, very fluent in reading, but he had some encounters in school that really kind of set him on a different route, really put him off and disengaged him in the learning process. And I'm going to tell you about Johnny's experience. Johnny could read very thoroughly, but he was scared to read out loud. So his teacher would oftentimes call him to read out loud. He would be shy. He had a speech impediment, so he was scared to read out loud and did not do it, would not engage, refused to do it. Sometimes when he would come to school, he would be sleepy. He would be hungry. And his teachers would challenge him because they thought he was just being disrespectful. And Johnny reminded me that all I was trying to do is help my brothers and sisters survive in the jungle of the projects, where if you're in the projects, you have to either join the culture or stay by yourself. And either way, you're going to get picked on. And Johnny was hell-bent on making sure that he protected his brother and sister. So that was a part of his elementary experience. So going through that, he was not engaged in school, got turned off by school, even though he was a bright young man. He got turned off because his teacher didn't see who he was and what he was going through. When he got to middle school, by the time, how many of you are in middle school? You already know what I'm about to say. So middle school is the most challenging time for a kid. And it's probably the most important time that the people who work with them must see them. Because you don't understand what they may be going through. They don't understand what they're going through, and they got an attitude about it. So Johnny had the same situation. He would go to school. He was dealing with being picked on by his peers, being turned off by staff. And part of his problem was he was so poor that he would do things after school to make money so he could buy himself some decent clothes so that he wouldn't be picked on by his peers. And he went through this his entire middle school year. Middle school years for him was a challenge because it was an age in which he was being recruited into gangs, but because he loved his mother so much and he honored her so much, he refused to join the gangs because his mother would always teach him, you are a leader. Why would you want to follow a bunch of other knuckleheads? And so he stuck to that. And I see some of that in him as he got older. He is a leader by nature. When he got to high school, things changed a little bit. He was more engaged in sports. Those things kind of drew him in, the extracurricular activities. But it was this one teacher, she saw the hustle in him. And she was a business ed teacher, teaching an entrepreneurship class. And she was able to convince him to take her class, and then subsequently convinced him to write a business proposal, go out and sell that business proposal to the banks and get them to support him. She would take him to the banks to make sure he got supported. And through that engagement, he began to be more encouraged because she saw something in him that he didn't see in himself. And so for Johnny, that was a life-changing event for him. He became more successful in school, more engaged, more popular. All the things kind of started changing for him. Through that experience in that class, he got a job. He was able to support himself, support his sister and brother, making sure they were able to wear decent clothes to go to school in, and all those things. So Johnny reminded me that, Dr. Gallien, if you just get people to understand that every kid has a story. Every kid has a story. And that you just remind them that that's why you lead the way you lead. Now, Johnny went on, graduated, barely graduated, but he graduated, went on to the military, subsequently got out of the military, began to engage in some coursework at the technical college level, and from there, he just took off. Went on to get his bachelor's, 2 master's degrees, and a PhD. And now, Johnny stands before you as your new superintendent. So I just wanted to say that that story is not about me. It's not about me boasting about who I am and what I've done. It's really a reminder to me, because as I have gone through this career, oftentimes me and Johnny have reflective moments. And he reminds me, keep focused on the kids. No matter what happens, focus on the kids. See the kids. See who they are. Challenge them. Nurture them. Give them what they need. Because every kid has a story. Every single kid has a story. And that's what the Chick-fil-A experience is all about. If you've ever engaged in any of the Chick-fil-A training, they used to have a video, and I think they have a current one now, a video that talks about the reason they do what they do is because they see that every customer has a story. Every customer has a story. So they engage them the way that they do because they don't know what these people are going through. And sometimes when we have students in front of us and we're pushing and pushing and pushing, we have to sometimes step back and say, what is this child going through? How can I help support them? You may not be able to fix their home. You may not be able to change what's happening at their home. But when they walk through that door, you are the one person that could change their lives. So I just ask for you this year to just be the leaders that you are, see the students, nurture the students, and I guarantee you, from that, you're going to create a Chick-fil-A experience for that child. And so on that note, I want to just say, when I came here to visit on the second interview, the community interview, I had experiences in schools that I would say are the Chick-fil-A experiences. And so I just want to give those schools a shout out. E.B. Ellington, if you're here, any staff members. So if you, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Thank you, thank you. When I went to E.B. Ellington, I saw not only good customer service from the staff, from the secretary, when they greeted you as you entered the school, the principal. But I saw teachers. I saw librarians. And they were all engaged in helping children, seeing who they were. And I just really walked away thinking, I like that. I think I could be a part of a district that has leaders like that. And so thank you guys. The next one is Camp Road Middle School. Stand up, stand up. I don't know where you at. Stand. All right, all right. Another wonderful experience. Wonderful experience there, seeing some wonderful things happening, watched some PLCs in the making, and so it really excited me about what that experience was like. And then I went to R.B. Stahl. R.B. Stahl, where we at? All right, good. I saw so many students engage with the teachers, the principal, in ways that you knew that they were being seen as individuals. Students were actively coming up to the principal, speaking to him, shaking his hands, giving him dap, all of those things. So really want to give a shout out to them. And then I ended my day at Burke High School. All right. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Not only did I experience just a beautiful campus, but really the students, the band, I had never heard anything like that at a high school band ever. So I'm really excited about the experience there and the type of experience they're giving kids. So really want to just give them a shout out. And then lastly, I want to acknowledge the team that embraced me as I came into the district. So I just want to give my chiefs a shout out. If you could stand up, please. They really embraced me from day one and gave me a great experience. And you all already know what Anita was doing. So we were the only, probably one of few in the campus that day when I came. But she took me all around just as happy. You know, it was really good experience. And then I want to say, I know you watched this whole interview process and what all happened in that. But one thing I was committed to is making sure that when I came to the district, that we were going to put all that behind us and we were going to focus on kids. One of the first meetings that I had was with Mr. Kennedy. So Mr. Kennedy, can you stand up, please? Through that meeting, it was a Zoom meeting, but it didn't take me long to see that this man was committed to children. And I wanted to make sure we acknowledge that and we honor that. So I am committed to making sure that we had a smooth transition, there would be no finger pointing, and that he would be honored with integrity and dignity. So Mr. Kennedy's new role in the district is Chief Innovation Officer. He's going to be working with some of you on some new things and things that you're working on that he want to continue to support. So give him another round of applause. And then I don't know where my head is this morning, but I normally acknowledge my bosses at the beginning of the speech. So I want to say, Dr. Temple, thank you for being here. So give her a round of applause, and her husband. So it's always nice to have your bosses support you. And thank you this morning for giving me this time, just so you understand who I am and why I lead the way I am. I don't get into judging people, all of those things. I'm here to support you and make sure that you have what you need to be successful. So thank you. Thank you.